Hello guys, how you doing today? As you can see from the title, this is my look at the first Gamersgate indie bundle. They're calling it the Indie 4 bundle, and it's quite interesting. You get 6 games in the bundle, all indie games obviously, and there is some kind of other bonus content as well. So the bundle is $5.99. It seems like the price is not going to go up and down like other indie bundles. It stays at $5.99, and you decide how much you'd like to pay. You can actually pay extra money if you want, but if not, it looks like it's going to always stay at $5.99. Okay, so as you can see, the first game we are looking at is called Black Market. Now, if I look at this game on Gamersgate, this game, the regular price is $9.95, and it says it's an RPG simulator. It's by a publisher called Big Block Games, and the description of the game, it says fight or fly, trade or die, machine scheme, ghosts plot, corporations conspire, space can be a dangerous place, equip your ship, explore new worlds, and unravel the mysteries of the market. So that's a very poetic description that they've put up there. The game has got 114 votes. 114 people have voted on this game, and it gets 4 stars out of 5. So that's on Gamersgate. This is obviously a game for Windows only. I played this game a bit. I just like to say first of all that all of these games, it's only really my first impressions of the game. It's not really a full review of the game, it's just my first impressions. If I end up playing a game more, then I will put other videos up on my YouTube channel, but this is really just to kind of give you an idea of the various games and what they are like. Now, my first impressions of this game, it kind of made me feel like when I was a kid playing Elite. Now, when I was a kid, I believe, what did I have Elite on? I remember that I bought it and it was in a big red box, and I think I might have had it on my Amstrad CPC 464, or was it on my Amiga? I can't remember, but this was one of the first kind of space, or it was the first space trading game I ever played, and I can remember way back then loving Elite. I was only a kid, man, and I used to spend so many hours on Elite, like trying to trade the commodities, find out where has higher prices, where you can make money. So this game brings back fond memories of that game, Elite. But obviously I haven't played this game enough really for me to really be able to tell you if it's up to that kind of standard, but my first impressions were pretty good for an indie game, especially when you consider that you're paying $5.99 for all these games, so you're probably paying just over $1 for this game. And it's pretty good. It's got, obviously you can't expect too much in terms of voice acting. They do have a story mode in this game and also a free roam mode. In the video that you can see here, I was doing the story mode, so it kind of helps, I suppose, when you're kind of new to the game, to give you an idea the kind of people you can talk to and the kind of things you can do, and it kind of gives you a bit of a tutorial on the space combat and things like that. So it's kind of nice they give you that kind of story mode, even though obviously there's no voice acting, it's just all kind of text, but that's kind of fine because it's trying to be like an old school kind of game, right? So like I could remember, like, back in the day, those kind of adventures wouldn't have any real voice acting really. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. I haven't had time to really kind of work out if the story is any good, if it actually is a worthwhile story, but certainly at least it does have that mode. And I can imagine the free roam mode would be kind of cool, because that's going to be kind of like a sandbox mode where you can just fly around. You don't have the constraints of the story, of the missions from the story. You can just basically then decide where you would like to go, who you'd like to trade with, and things like that. So, I was quite impressed the fact they have a story mode and a free roam mode. I would imagine that I could spend quite a few hours in the free roam mode just trying to go around and see what happens. So I think that's kind of good. I've not actually physically tried it. I'm just saying that I would imagine that I would spend a lot of time in that free roam mode. So as you can see, when you are traveling around in the galaxy, you basically see like a map of all the different areas, all the different planets and things like that. So you go around, you basically move your spaceship around, and you can scan a planet. So when you scan a planet, you will then have a look to see if there's anything on there of any value. Sometimes you'll find like a crashed spaceship that you can take things off and kind of salvage. Sometimes you will find other equipment, other valuable items. Also, you can actually, as well as doing the scanning, you can actually do like mining on a planet, which again is pretty cool. It kind of made me think about the mini game in Mass Effect. So it's kind of like that kind of mini game in Mass Effect 2, where you would actually scan all of the planets and things like that. So they kind of have that element in it. So you can, I kind of had the impression that I would spend quite a few hours travelling around trying to salvage as much resources as I could. So that was definitely an element of the game that I thought was good, And then when you are travelling around, if you see a spaceship which has like a red label over it, then it means it's like a pirate or someone who is hostile. So then when you come across someone who's hostile, there'll be a little bit of dialogue which will say about it's kind of nice that it gives you some kind of like choices. You can either like bribe the hostile people, or you can fight them or try to talk to them. So that's kind of cool. And then the combat itself, when you get into that kind of situation, you can basically fire at them. You have like rockets and miniguns and things like that, and in real time you'll be firing at these people. My kind of first impressions of that was it seemed like it's probably a little bit easy, but that's just my first impression. I think I did 2 battles. One was in like the scripted story, one was just a random encounter, and both of them I seem to be able to like kill the other people relatively easy, even though I've only just started the game. So I am slightly worried that combat element might be a little bit easy, but at least there's some kind of combat there, and you get a screen where you see your ship and you see the other ones who are attacking you, and you have to fire the rockets and things at them. So yeah, I kind of thought that was cool. And also you can actually skill up your character, so you can skill up so that you can have better rockets, or that you can be better at trading, that you can see more stuff, that you can like various kind of skills. You can either basically hone your skills more towards the combat or more towards the trading and the mining. So for a game that probably has cost me like $1, I can imagine that I would at least spend a good few hours in this game. I can't really comment as to how much depth there really is in the game, but if it turns out that I do spend a lot of time in this game, then I'll do a full-on review of the game. Like I said, this is really my first impressions. It will hopefully give you an idea about this game for the purposes of buying the Indie 4 bundle on Gamersgate. Now, that brings to an end that game, Black Market. The next game is a really interesting game, but a slightly buggy game in my opinion, which is called Kenji, Kenshi. Now, as you can see from this, you can actually create a character yourself. If you have a look at Gamersgate, they say this game is $11.99 US, and basically it's one of those games in alpha, so they're kind of going down the Minecraft kind of route, which is saying this game is not yet finished. If you'd like to purchase it, the idea is they want to make this game into a $30 or a full-priced game in the future. But if you are if you support them right now, you will get this game early. Now, my kind of first impressions. Well, first, why don't I read the description? First of all, it explains that this game is a work in progress. Regular updates will be improving the game over time, and it's basically saying it's going to be kind of buggy and everything, but it's in alpha, and if you would like to support the developers, if you buy the game now, you'll be getting it at a discount. It describes the game as a free-roaming, squad-based RPG focusing on open-ended gameplay, so basically like a sandbox game. Be a trader, a thief, a rebel, a mercenary, a business owner, a doctor, a bandit, the list goes on. Aid or oppose the various factions in the world, while striving for strength and wealth necessary to simply survive in the harsh desert. Purchase and upgrade your own buildings. So yeah, they're basically trying to make kind of like a sandbox RPG. Now, the reviews for this game on Gamersgate, it got 231 votes, and it again is getting a 4 stars out of 5. There's quite a few good reviews on Gamersgate. You might want to have a look on there. They have some quite detailed opinions about this game. My view is that basically, again, you're paying $1 for this, and I think it's really, really awesome that you can get a key for an interesting game like this for only $1, and in the future, hopefully, it will be made into a fully fledged game, and you'll be the owner of that, and you'll only have paid about $1. I wasn't so keen on the control scheme where you feel like you're kind of controlling the camera. Like, you basically have to click your cursor and that will move your character automatically, and then if you use your mouse you can also move the camera around. So I kind of felt the control scheme was a little bit awkward. It would have been better if they kind of brought it all together so that the camera was always on your character, something like that. But obviously right now this game is in early stages and I didn't really have enough time to fully explore the game. I like the idea of the game, and like I said, I'm quite happy that I have a key for this game for such a cheap price, and I will definitely try and spend more time, and again, if I end up playing this game a lot, I'll put a proper review on my YouTube. But yeah, I mean, the graphics are glitchy, the control scheme is slightly glitchy, it is an alpha, but I can certainly see that there is quite a lot of potential with this kind of a game. I mean, if you can truly, make your own way in the game and like be a trader or do various things, as you can see there, the camera got slightly glitched out, but I don't think I'll start playing this game immediately. Maybe give them a little bit more time to kind of add more updates. I have a key for this game. I'm just going to hold on to it, Okay, so that brings us on to the next game. I was quite impressed with this game. This game is called Cardenal Quest, and on Gamersgate it is selling for $4.99. So I was quite impressed again that we get this as part of this indie bundle. Again, it gets 112 votes. on Gamersgate. The overall is 4 stars out of 5. To read out the description on Gamersgate, it says Cardenal Quest is an arcade-style dungeon crawler inspired by 1980s classics such as Gauntlet. Blah blah blah. Choose your champion and begin your quest to slay the evil Minotaur. 3 distinct characters await you, each providing their own unique experience. The fierce fighter, the stealthy thief, or the mystical wizard. This game is described as being an RPG indie game. So yeah, this is like a very old school kind of game, like an old school RPG style. Again, I keep saying this, but you're paying $1 for this game, and I have to say I only played this game for a short amount of time, but I used to play Gauntlet when I was a kid, and yes, this is not exactly like that, but it's kind of that style of like a dungeon kind of game, like a turn-based version of that game. And I have to say, my first impressions were pretty good. Again, I could imagine spending a good few hours. Now, obviously, you have to be the kind of guy that likes the idea of retro games, but I liked the simple graphics, I liked the user interface, I thought it was very, very simple. You know, you have the basic RPG stuff, inventory, you basically pick up stuff, you have like your spells on the right hand side. It seems like that you basically pick up things that will buff up your character as you go. Now, yeah, this obviously is not going to be a game that's going to last you like 20 hours like a modern RPG, but I can certainly imagine myself spending a good amount of time exploring and kind of reminiscing about this kind of a retro game. And you know, at this kind of price, it is really worth it. I mean, my first impressions, like playing this game, yeah, it really harked back to that kind of retro RPG style. It ran really well. I kind of liked the way that it was turn-based. And you kind of explore around it in the dungeons. You think about the strategy of the various spells that you want to cast on the people who you meet. So, and it's basically, I mean, I think sometimes we kind of forget, because these days RPGs are so kind of complicated and obviously 3D, like you get immersed in a 3D environment, but it kind of reminds me of when I was a kid, when I used to get engrossed in these kind of games, and when graphics were not such a big thing. Like way back then, it was only about the gameplay, and I used to spend many hours playing these kind of games when I was a kid. So, you know, I'm more than happy to get an indie game like this that kind of helps me to reminisce and re-experience these kind of games. And if you're, you know, a younger gamer and you've never seen these kind of games, I would highly recommend that you give them a go, that you have a look at it, because, you know, it's kind of fun and it kind of gives you a more pure experience than some of the RPGs. Like sometimes I feel these days some RPGs can be so like complicated that in some ways it takes away from the pure fun of an RPG, whereas this game just, you know, brings it right back down, kind of scales it right back down to the basic bare bones of what an RPG used to be way back in the day. So yeah, again, I was impressed with this game. I'd say that this was one of the games that I was pretty impressed with. I mean, actually, so far, this game, Black Market, Kenji has a lot of potential, but yeah, I would say all the games so far I've been pretty impressed with, and you know, certainly worth the price that they are in this bundle. Okay, so we will be moving on to the next game. This game I thought was interesting, but one thing about the next game kind of struck me as being a little bit strange. The first thing is the introduction to this game was a really cool old school introduction, I have to say. I mean, you'll see the introduction, the introductory video thing. It really harked back to the old school ones. You know, I mean, obviously these kind of graphics are, you know, very kind of like the very first 3D style kind of graphics almost, but it really harked back and just kind of made me feel, wow, this is actually, in its own way, it's really cool the way they have this introductory video. Now, this game is called Devil Whiskey. Now, the thing that I thought was very strange about this game is the full price is $24.95. Now, although this game seemed interesting, I'm not sure if I would pay $24.95, but I mean, right now I would kind of say that this game is one of the games that's kind of a bonus. I mean, like I said earlier, all the games that have come so far I've been impressed with, but this is the first game that was kind of, you know, it had potential, but I was not completely like, wow, this is a cool game kind of thing. Maybe it's because for me these kind of games, like, I never used to play these kind of games back in the day that much anyway, so maybe it's a personal thing, but so far this is the first game that I've kind of thought of this game as a bonus. It's a cool idea, but I can't see that I'll be playing this game that much. It describes, now the other interesting thing, it says it was released, well, it doesn't actually say on the page, but I don't know if you noticed in the introductory video or on one of the screens, it says that the copyright on the game is from 2002. So does that mean the game was made in 2002 and it's like an older game? I don't know. I mean, on Gamersgate it got 106 votes, and again it got 4 stars out of 5. Seems like all the games so far are getting that, but anyway, they basically have said originally produced by Shifting Sun Studios. This is a turn-based RPG in the tradition of the Bard's Tale series with beautiful graphics. By the way, the voice acting on that character was really terrible. Like, there was only a tiny bit of voice acting, but when the voice acting, you know, came over, I was like, what is happening here? This seems kind of strange. Like, someone has literally just got a microphone and tried to put on like a Scottish accent and failed really badly. But anyway, you can't expect very good voice acting. But, you know, this kind of game, as you can see, it's a turn-based kind of RPG kind of game where, I mean, I did kind of like how there's a 3D environment that you can travel around. You use the keyboard to kind of move around in the environment, but apart from that, when you actually kind of come across, I mean, it seems like the people are not actually in the environment, but you will walk somewhere and then all of a sudden a screen pops up which is basically telling you that someone has encountered you, and then it turns into like a text-based adventure, and you can obviously kind of talk with people, you can fight with people, you can try to negotiate with people. It seemed like an interesting idea. Like I said, for me, this game seemed interesting, but was not really one of the games in the bundle that stood out for me that much. But if you like these kind of games, if you used to play these kind of games, if you like the idea of a turn-based kind of roll the dice kind of strategy thing, then this game might be a game that might interest you a lot. You know, I like the way you can basically like equip various equipment, and then you can choose whether you try to talk to people or fight with them or you run away. So yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of more like text-based adventures, although I never played this exact style of game when I was a kid, or like when they were out and kind of popular. I did play some kind of text-based games way back in the day, and actually I used to read some kind of books where it would say turn to page 39 if you want to do that, or 42 if you want to do this option. It's in a way kind of like that. So yeah, if you like these kind of games, then you know it's a good kind of bonus addition into this indie bundle. Okay, so that brings that game to an end. Now, this game to me seemed exciting. It seemed pretty exciting. Now, this game is called Steel Storm Burning Retribution, and the regular price for it is $4.95. It's only had 12 votes cast for it on Gamersgate, and it got a 4 out of 5. Like I said, it seems like most games are getting 4 out of 5 on Gamersgate for some reason. Steel Storm Burning Retribution is a top-down action shooter with old-school spirit. It marks the return of top-down shooters with new twists. The game has score-orientated competitive gameplay, and it is designed for people who like fast-paced action, hordes of smart enemies, destructible worlds, and ground-shaking explosions. The events take place in an alternative universe where you control an advanced hover tank packed with the most advanced and sophisticated weapons. Your task is simple, but nevertheless not trivial. Blah blah blah. So yeah, it's an indie game. It's like a top-down action shooter. Now, as you can see from my footage, I have to say this game, even for the regular price of $4.95, but in this indie bundle you're paying $1 for it, and this game feels nice. You can upgrade your guns, upgrade your weapons. It's just that real old school. Like, this is a kind of game I did used to play more when I was younger, where you have to like fly around, dodge everyone, shoot people, and kind of, yeah, that kind of classic space shooter kind of game that was out quite a lot when I was a kid. So yeah, I have to say, and I like the environments. I thought the environments in the game looked, for an indie game, looked kind of cool. I like the feeling of the spaceship. It seemed to handle, to me, pretty well. And also, the thing that I think is quite exciting about this game is it has a multiplayer option. Now, unfortunately, when I had a look, I could not find a single... I found about 5 multiplayer servers, but they were all empty. But you can imagine, if you and a few of your friends kind of get this game, playing it in multiplayer, I mean, wow. This game is really worth the money. Like, again, this is my first impressions. I've not really had a chance to fully play the game for the full amount of, for enough amount of time for me to really be able to review the game. But my first impressions of this game, yeah, it's cool. And I will certainly spend some hours playing this game, and if I can find an online game, I will give the online a try. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with this. I think this is one of the games that really makes this bundle worthwhile, because, I mean, it's kind of a shame it only got 12 votes on Gamersgate. All those other games got hundreds of votes, so I'm kind of pleased it's in the bundle, because it's going to give this game a bit more exposure, a bit more credit, and hopefully, earn a bit of money for the developer. I mean, it seems this Gamersgate version of Indie Bundle, I don't think it's going to be quite as successful as the Indie Royale stuff. Somehow that stuff has just gone crazy. Like, this Indie Fort stuff has been going for a couple of days, and it's made about 17,000 US, and they've got another 6 days. It ends in just over 6 days from right now when I'm recording this video. So I would say that it's not going to be quite as popular as the Indie Royale stuff, but still, hopefully you'll earn a bit of money for the developers and get a bit more exposure for the game. Okay, the next game is called Wonderlust. Now, Wonderlust, I could not get Wonderlust to actually record properly for love nor money, so I'm just showing you their website. You can just Google Wonderlust and you'll find their website with screenshots and videos on it. It'll give you a good idea for the game. They describe this game as an action role-playing RPG, kind of old school. Wonderlust Rebirth offers more content than most professionally funded games, including story and survival modes, online high scores, over 40 enemy types, 50 boss battles, over 50 unique skills. So basically it's an old style RPG. Now the thing that's awesome with this is it has a co-op mode, so you can play with up to 4 people online with co-op. So I did play this game a little bit. It is like really old school, like 8-bit RPG style. Again, my first impressions are for only $1, this game surely is worth it for only $1. I mean, I have to say, my first impressions, if you like old school RPGs with 8-bit style old school graphics, then this might be a game for you. I'm definitely going to look into this more, and again, if I end up playing this game a lot, I will feature it on my YouTube channel more. Okay, thanks for watching guys, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.